Welcome back, friends and neighbors. There's only one more of these until we get into the draft itself and the marathon that live stream will be. But I hope you get used to these surroundings because this is what it's going to look like unless something goes really, really wrong. Welcome back to RGR Football. If you're new, click the like and the sub and the bell notification because there's so much coming in the next 2 weeks. I don't even think I can keep up, and I know it'll be hard for you guys to keep up. I'm Ryan. This is RGR. This is Dan Harms. How are you, Dan?
I am doing fantastic. I kind of wish that the draft was on my birthday this Thursday, but instead it's a week from now, so that's kind of disappointing. But
right.
at the end of the day, it's almost here. It's almost here, and I think I'm finally relaxing a little bit. I'm letting myself relax a little bit.
Good for you. I need to do that too, but I'm not quite there yet. I think we're going to get into all the questions and stuff. I got a couple of announcements for you, but I forgot to do this, so let's get into it. We're going to have some fun tonight on RGR Football. That's what it is. I get to talking, and there's just no way around it.
Same for both of us, man.
A lot of familiar faces in there. I appreciate you guys jumping in. Aaron, our fearless mod, is in the house. Give him a hand, will you please? And I want to take a couple of minutes here. We're going to go through a couple of things. One, Dan and I had a fun conversation yesterday. You guys are going to see that next Sunday night. That's going to be our honest conversation about the draft as we kick off draft week. So that'll go up Sunday night. You don't want to miss it. Those of you that are into the blogosphere and Chiefs Kingdom, you're going to know our guests pretty easily. I think it's hilarious. I had a great time, so It'll be fun. Then we're going to have some superstar guests. I have some things that hopefully I'll get recorded this week, some guys that are insiders on the draft process. You'll hear from them. And then at the time, we'll do the board release. The rest of the guys have the option to do it. You'll definitely get mine because I will have it stacked by next Sunday. And so likely on this show, and he's going to as well. Okay. Yeah. I didn't want to put any pressure on you, but hey,
I'll
by this show next week, we'll start talking the board itself. And then we'll go from there. Now, in order to get ready for the board, I had to finish the draft guide, which is now complete. You can get it at rogueapc.com. Use the same discount you guys got on anything else, Matrix RGR. And I want to give a shout out right now. In fact, I'll show you guys a little bit of it. This is the guide. Flowery, buttery language. But here's what it is. There's two guys. There's two profiles per page. So we're talking, there's over 300 guys in this book. And the person who helped me get a lot of it done is Jeff Porter. I don't know that he's in the chat yet, but he will join tonight at some point. Make sure to give Jeff a hand as well.
Very much.
This is the hardest year that I've ever had in producing this book because usually I get all of February and March where I can actually do the analysis. This year we didn't get any of that because the data came in so slowly. It was more and more difficult. And quite frankly, everybody was behind. So the stat sources that I use at times, they were running behind as well. So, but this is what you get. You get all the athleticism, which was in the Matrix, minus a couple of things that are only in the Matrix. But then you get the production stats. One of my favorites is this Air Force metric that I've been using for quite a long time. And it shows you the things the Chiefs don't necessarily want to use, like contested catches and missed tackles forced. It puts them together in a way that actually shows you what people do on the field. And then there's all these athletes. So this is something that has been a labor of love ever since I was a strength conditioning coach. But it got to the point where data-wise, I couldn't keep up if it wasn't for Jeff. So I want to say thank you to Jeff, as well as the rest of the crew at RGR. If we can get that shared, all of our boards, we will do that. But tonight is about your questions and answers. So we're going to get into it right away. And I do want to say this. If you're a friend of the channel, if you're a super chatter, thank you very much. But no matter how much that you want to super chat, whatever the dollar amount is, make sure you ask a question. A couple of people were very kind, but didn't get anything for it last week. And that has a tendency to linger in my head and make me feel guilty. So I need guilt like a hole in the head. So let's not go there. Canadian Chief, you brought up the other thing that I was going to say off the top before we get to the questions. Alex Smith retired today. We did a piece on it for the Locked On Chiefs podcast. That'll be out later this evening. And I just want to say thank you to him and remind everyone that what you enjoy now as a Chiefs fan is quite a bit largely helped out by what he did. He's not responsible for it, but he got the cart moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Alex Smith, man, I go back and forth with a lot of people on this because, was he ever going to be a quarterback to win a Super Bowl? Probably not. But at the same time, he helped develop the culture in Kansas City. Like Mitchell Schwartz said it himself, he came to Kansas City in large part because of the culture that he and Andy Reid built. Andy Reid went out and got him when he came to Kansas City because he knew the kind of guy that he was. And I think we all witnessed the exact kind of guy that he is in Kansas City, and then once again coming back from his injury to play last year and be a starting quarterback, regardless of how he got to that point. So, Alex Smith is, in my opinion, definitely a guy, almost a shoo-in for the Ring of Honor as a Chief, in my opinion. So I'll just put that out there. You can disagree, whatever you want. I don't care.
It's fine because, again, everything kind of harkens back to that foundation that he built that Patrick stood on top of to get them all the way to the promised land. So I'm with you there. And if he does become a coach, I like your comment, Canadian. I like that Andy said, hey, I want first dibs. So Jake, I'm glad you're digging the guide. Aaron, I did get the code out. That's awesome.
Already.
Let's see. Anybody else before we get into the questions? Cole said just as well that we lost out on Aldon Smith. Yep. He is worn out for his arrest.
There's a reason that Ryan and I have been very much a no-go on that, and you're looking at it right there.
And that's not to say that it's going to be a total disruption for the Seahawks because he hasn't even been in the building yet, right?
No.
But it's still a distraction. It's something that doesn't move the boat, move the ship in one direction. And so, yeah, that's definitely how we feel about it. So with that said, let's get into the questions. Dee, thank you for your super chat. Very much appreciated. Oh, if I don't click it twice, it will show up. So Niang at left tackle. I didn't see that Andy said that.
He didn't say specifically that anyone would be. We just have guys in the building that can play left tackle.
Right.
Obviously.
Okay.
We saw that last year in the Super Bowl. We have a person that can be on the field at left tackle. Playing is a little bit differently.
Yeah. Mike Rivers can go back out there. It ain't going to be pretty.
Look, and the thing about Niang, I was going to say that unless we don't know any specifics about what he's been told to do in the offseason process. They said the last time they saw him, which was over a year ago, that he looked good. Pretty much that he could play either or. And now, unless they've told him specifically you need to train to play left tackle, then right now he's a right tackle. So I don't expect to see the start of training camp him just be the left tackle, especially considering everything that's been going on. So I don't rule it out, but for me, everything that he said, we have people that can kind of shoe in there, but you have to understand that you need a left tackle of the future. And unless you're going to make Niang your left tackle of the future, which I highly doubt, you're going to have to draft one.
I can't see that either. Now, again, if you strike out, maybe you have to piece it together. That's fine.
Yeah.
But Dee, you have a good point, though. They're like, yeah, it is a bit of a smokescreen because Andy isn't committing to anything.
And he never will.
No, it is what it is. Mez, I get it. I try not to go there too much. That's why I try to smash rumors more than anything else. Michael, I know you don't want AB. Could the Chiefs kick the tires on him? They could. He did keep it together with the Bucs. I would say, honestly, Tom Brady kept him in his place is what it is.
Yep.
I don't have faith that would happen in Kansas City. I mean, I know Kansas City is a slower pace of life. It's not the East Coast, whatever. I just don't trust the guy. Bottom line.
Yeah, it's an interesting topic because if I'm not mistaken, the cases and stuff are still out on him. I don't think anything's been dismissed. So they're still going through that whole process. And I think that Tom Brady, and Antonio Brown both knew that, and they would have a chance to go get a ring. So he was like, look, we can bring this guy in. I can keep him under control for this year, and then we will have a chance to use him to win a Super Bowl. And that looks like what they did because now you don't see them rushing to bring him back I think there's kind of a reason for that.
That's kind of my thought as well. Like if you did that all and put it all together and they still don't want you back, like that says something to me as well. I would tell them to just steer clear. Whether Veach will do that or not, that's up to Brett Veach. Kyle, do you have any thoughts on Derek Barnes from Purdue or Zach McPherson from Texas Tech? I think they're both day 3 guys that are developmental. I don't see them walking in making an impact as much as you like them in the way that they move at the college level. Dan, am I wrong?
No, that's the thing. Like I know Derek Barnes actually tested very, very well, and he was brought up in the conversation that Ryan and I are going to have or be released to you on Sunday. Funny enough, but yeah, he does move very well. But again, at the college level, there's a lot of guys that you can look at the film and say, yeah, he's moving well on the field for a guy who's not reading as much as a NFL level offense is going to show you, for example. And I think Derek Barnes is one of those. The Big Ten offenses aren't exactly the most, how should I say this? Outside of Ohio State, they're very cut and dry from what I've seen. Ohio State's probably the most pro-ready offense, and everything else, like, for example, just go and watch Michigan. Run. Oh, hey, we're going to throw a play-action pass here. But, yeah, it's not extremely dynamic. So I like Barnes, but, again, you're completely right in the fact that these guys are really more developmental guys who could come in and impress. And that's really what you're betting on when you take them on day 3.
Yeah, I'm with you. Let's see. Gooch is in the house. Glad you're back, Gooch. You and I got to get together for a one-on-one here. I think we're behind, dude. I know you're busy. Hey, so am I. That's fine. Veach says the door is still open for Fish and Swartz. Call it the return. Hi, Dan. I'm glad you guys have bonded so much. It's cute.
Well, it's nice to have someone that, used to hate you for some reason, but now he's okay with me.
It's just because Sherb retired. Now there's no cause for conflict anymore.
No more bad blood.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I thought that was actually telling, like I thought it was also telling that it came up against cap casualty. He actually said that. So yeah, I'm glad the door's open. I think Fish actually has a chance to recover. I didn't feel before the injury that his career was like fading or anything.
No.
Mitch is a little bit different. Mitch kind of hit the wall where his snap streak ended, started getting more injuries. I think his injury is a lot more severe. So, hey, I'm open to either, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Wolverine, thank you very much for your super chat. Cosme, Marshall, Brown, Phillips are all on the board at 31. Who do you draft? And who do you think the Chiefs will draft? Love the content. Thanks, Wolverine. Appreciate that. You go first, Dan. What do you think?
Well, personally, I'm not taking Phillips. I'm not taking a defensive end in round 1. For me, this defensive class in and of itself, outside of the top end of the corner, it's not strong. It's not. And I'm just not taking a guy, especially with the concussion history, who essentially retired from football in the first round when there are a ton of literally a ton of Spags defensive end fits in this draft. Yes, you're talking about depth guys and guys that are developmental, but again, they don't seem to care about that so much. They care about fit on defense. Between the 3 now, we're talking about Spencer Brown, who I have as a second round grade. I'm not going to take him at 31. I would take Cosme and then Cosme over Marshall in right now, just because I think that the need for a future left tackle is more important than a need for a future X wide receiver, which you can probably get in the second round.
I can understand your reasoning there. I actually have Marshall with a higher grade, but I think the positional need does trump that because it is pretty close. Right now on my board, they're only a few spots apart. And I am working on the board for you guys. That'll be something you can download. I also put up today, you can hit it on Twitter, that you can go download your own. It's the same sheet that we use. We'll just type it in. You guys can print it out and make your own. I'd love to see those. If you do, hit me on Twitter with a picture of it because I'd like to see that in use.
That'd be awesome.
But I agree. Those are the top 2 on my board as well. I still have to cross-check Spencer Brown. I have not gotten to it because the last week. Yeah. Well,
the film for him is not exactly just everywhere.
I'll dig is what I'll do. Aaron, you thought Yabo was going to be higher on the Matrix. I thought so too. I was pretty disappointed when it all came out, but it's all relative to who you're running against on the field, right? And some of those breakaways, when I go back and watch them, they actually are a little bit suspect in terms of like it doesn't look like Pitt's running down the field, Yeah,
no, he's not. I didn't see a huge athlete on film. I just saw him finding ways in space, like to get open. It was more of a knowledge system for me. Some broken plays, some going above the rim to make some catches too. So it wasn't like he was just breaking linebackers off and safeties off. He was just finding a way to get open. Sometimes those guys will eventually break out in the NFL too.
Yeah. I want to go back to Wolverines for a minute because we didn't finish this question. Who do we think the Chiefs will take? I think they will take Marshall because I think they'll have a higher grade on him.
I agree with that, and especially because I think that they want to tackle with 34-inch arms. And Spencer Brown should be sitting there in the second round somewhere.
Yeah. Metal Rocker's question is very, very similar. That's what reminded me. Thank you, Metal. If it comes down to Liam Eichenberg or Dylan Radins at 31, I don't have either of them with a first-round grade. So they're both a stretch for me at that point. But if it came down to one or the other of them, who do you think it's most likely for Veach to draft?
So I think it's going to be Radins, because I did confirm that he has 34-inch arms, actually. So that seems to be something that I really think that they're concerned about. And Eichenberg has sub 33-inch arms, which is it's not
like
ideal.
Sub.
Yeah,
it's
like
sub 32 and a half.
32 and like 3/8 or something like that. It's not good. And Radins does have the reach. He's obviously still learning the position at a higher level, but again, at 31, it's a reach for both. And if they're going to take one, they'll take the guy with the longer arms, I think.
I think, especially when you look at their history, they do like the longer arms. They're just one of the teams that has thresholds. And I think when you look at Mitch Schwartz being like the shortest arm guy that's actually played significant snaps for them, and he's 33 and a half, it's a stretch. Like I'm this close to putting Eichenberg as a guard on my board.
It's close.
That's why.
It's unfortunate.
Which I think he'll be great at. Obviously, with Tooney in place, there's no interest there on this team. But, I mean, the problem is that there's other guys too. Brady Christensen is short-armed as well. He's going to have to move inside because the league is going to make him. Unless he becomes – I think he's good with his hands, but he's not excellent. And he's got to be excellent with that short length.
It's sad. There's a lot of short-arm tackles in this class. I think Christensen might be able to come in at center. I think he's smart enough to do it. And that's kind of something you need to come into center. So I think that's possible for him. So, and it's not to say he can't succeed as a tackle. There are some outliers. There's going to be some outliers. I think a higher chance from this class that you're going to see some outliers. But again, typically, guys with sub 33-inch arms just don't pan out at tackle.
Yeah, and I just don't think the Chiefs will be one to take that chance. I agree with you. I think some of them can work out because there are very good athletes with the shorter arms that I think could pull it off. Before I go any farther, I forgot to do this. Left Hand Brewing up in Boulder. St. Vrain is their triple, and it's tasty. I just wanted to give them a shout out. Jake, thank you very much for your super chat. Jake. Oh, draft. Okay, you dig the draft guide. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to hear you're not the only one either. So thank you, and thumbs up back to you. And I'll get you a question here in a bit, but thank you for the super chat.
Awesome.
As
thank
always.
You so much.
You guys rock. Thoughts on the Chiefs maybe drafting a defensive player in the first round? I think anything's possible, especially the tackles are separating themselves. I actually flipped a guy today. I flipped 2 tackles today.
Ooh.
So, it's becoming a problem. The more I see that, the more I think if tackle's not there and say, I don't know if they're going to love Marshall in the first. I don't know. If they don't, then yes, I think they can take a defensive player. There are guys that are going to be good enough. Is Greg Newsome one of them? Maybe. I think he's right there on the cusp of being a first, second rounder. Yeah. Maybe they like that. I don't know.
It's a big possibility, especially if one of the linebackers start to slide. I think that's a possibility too. We know that they don't care about positional value in terms of what we usually argue about, like running back positional value, linebacker value. I think if a guy like Zaven Collins is there at 31, that's going to make them pause a little bit depending on how the board is. Because I think that not only can he come in and be a guy that can do some really good things against the run and read those gaps, get downhill, but he can also pass, get in his set and get down and get upfield and actually do some things against the pass, which is really what they need as a future Mike. And I think that Zaven Collins could do that. He's also huge. So a guy of his size that can move like that, I think would give them a little bit of pause. So I think it's possible, but again, Really depends.
You just gave me an idea. I'm going to go run a comp. I'll probably get it to you guys as a graphic on Twitter. So make sure you're following Ryan Tracy NFL and D_Harms19. Because I'm going to compare him and Hitchens. I want to see what they tested as, even though Hitchens is obviously older and you wear down a little bit in the league. But I want to see the comparison. I think it's probably closer than I think. Junction. What's that?
I said I hope not.
Yeah, Junction, good question. Is Sheldon Richardson worth a pickup on the D-line? I mean, if you want to make a strength, why not?
Why not? Yeah. Throw some bodies. I mean, okay. That pretty much means that you're going to release
Saunders.
Like he's pretty much gone at this point if you bring in another guy, because that tells me not only do they feel they need to address the defensive line, that obviously they reached on him and it isn't going to work out. They don't see it working out, which in going into his third season is not what you want from a guy you went out of your way essentially to draft. A little bit higher than maybe you should have.
Yeah, I'm with you. Michael, if Niang is left, do they bring back Schwartz at right? If healthy, how long before Schwartz could possibly play? I don't think Niang will be at left, but if he was, they could certainly open the door if Schwartz is healthy. I don't know that he ever will be healthy enough to play again. When I watch him in his training on social media, he is doing basic movement skills. It has nothing to do with weight bearing or strength or power. And there's always a progression from an injury like that. I will never count the guy out, if anybody. Yeah. But I think he is also smart enough to know that anything that he does back on a football field is a risk to his long-term health. And I think he is a smart guy. So I'm going to say no.
Unfortunate.
Chris Anderson, do you think Caleb Farley will fall to 31? And if he does, should the Chiefs draft him? It's all about their medical review. I have him as a second rounder now because I have no way to confirm that he's going to recover from this. The fact that he was out an additional year and it still didn't improve makes me nervous. But I don't think the league's going to let him fall to 31. Do you?
No, I think he's going to be gone in the top 20. Like I think he'll slide probably. I think the Cardinals are the sweet spot. I think that if their board doesn't fall right for them, then they're going to snatch him up. And I truly believe that.
Let's see. Metal was watching something else here on YouTube, and a guy had us taking Griffin, and edge rusher Chauncey from Iowa State. Neither of those names are ringing a bell to me.
I've never heard of this person.
Okay. Yeah, you're gonna have to tell me more, Metal, because I don't know who they're talking about. That makes me nervous. The dude, hope you guys are doing well. We are. Thank you very much. Andy said in the conference they are trying Niang at left tackle. He didn't actually say that. He said they're not pigeonholing anyone. They have guys that can play left. I think people are reading into it because they want the line to be fixed. I want it to be fixed too, but I don't know that it's Niang. Here's the thing, though. The guy had the extra year having opted out to recover his hip labrum, which was his big drawback. That's the only reason the Chiefs were able to draft him, or he would have gone at least a round higher if he were healthy.
Yeah.
So in that time, if he actually worked on doing his drops in reverse, I never thought he had the cleanest kick step, but certainly on the left side, I've never seen him done it because he's never done it. But if he developed that, hey, more power to him. I won't be surprised until we walk in and we see him.
Exactly. We have to know because we don't know what's going on behind closed doors.
Yeah. Longmorn, same thing. I'm glad you guys are all on the same page, though. That's good.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that you're digging it. I'm really glad to hear people are liking it because it's
awesome.
It is more work than I should let anyone ever know. I will tell you guys that. Jonah, thank you very much for your super chat. I'm going to look for a question for you down below here. Doug did ask one. Oh, no, that's Doug's same comment. Maybe he didn't. Oh, he just said hello to Aaron. Okay. Oh, and guys, Aaron is going to be doing his board as well. So he confirmed that. I haven't heard from Danilo, but we'll try to get him to get going. And I'm guessing Jeff will put something together eventually. He's short on time these days as well. So Cole, if it's true, speaking of Alex, would Andy tried to trade him back in 2012?
Tried to trade for him. I haven't heard anything about that.
Yeah, tried to trade him back, as in send him back to San Francisco. I have never heard that.
Tried to trade for him when he was with the Eagles still in 2012.
Oh, I have no confirmation of that, but it wouldn't put it past me. That was the cold year, right? So yeah, I could see them making that push. Pono, how are you out there? Aloha, bud. Let's bite the bullet and grab Orlando Brown. He needs that nastiness. I mean, I like that. I'm not as confident he can play left as he is, but I am certain the Ravens are not going to give him up.
I don't think he's coming to the Chiefs. But again, from what we have seen reported by the exact same Twitter account, is just that the Bears have been in on it too. So the Bears would make sense out of the AFC. So that's all I got.
Yeah. I think somebody's getting a lot of run out of making stuff up. But hey, good for them. Do you believe that we have to take a tackle in the round 1? I hate drafting for position, but isn't it how we wound up with Breeland Speaks? It is somewhat how we wound up with Breeland Speaks because there was such a run. But that was also because that was one of the years they didn't have a first-round pick, right? Same thing with McCole Hardman. The panic came with Tyreek's situation before anybody knew. Hey, kiddo.
You say hi.
Say football.
Got a little wave.
Who's the weird dude with the beard, bro? But yeah, that's how you got into the Breeland Speaks situation. And I don't think they're going to have to feel that pressure. I think with a first round pick, they feel like they can do what they want. And quite frankly, if they don't get Sewell, Slater, or Jenkins, I think they're done. I think they're going to be disinterested because the more I watch Darisaw, the less I'm in on it.
It really depends on how comfortable they are with definitely saying that a lot of his laziness comes from playing at Virginia Tech. Now, that's going to be based on interviews and conversations with him as a person, because you're not going to know any of that unless you confirm with him that he's ready to come in and be 100% committed to being the best left tackle he can be. Because I do think that he could be a legit top 10 left tackle in the NFL with everything that he has at his disposal. Again, it's all up here from that point on.
Yeah, it's a good point. Ryan recently saw Calvin Joseph mocked at 31. Calvin Joseph is barely in the second round. I might end up having him in the third round when it's all said and done. I started the quarterbacks and worked back to the back of the defense, so I haven't gotten there yet. I think he's got great potential. He is nowhere near a finished product and does not belong in the first round at all.
No, and I might add this to my rant video. I'm not entirely sure yet because I can't stand people taking third-round picks and just saying, hey, if the Chiefs need this position, let's just go throw it at them. I can't stand it.
There are a lot of people that do that too. And so you guys watch the sources that you're spending time on, because a lot of them are trying to get clicks and views and don't necessarily understand how the team or the league works. Kansas City Chiefs, if Penei Sewell fell in the top 10, would you trade for him? The only problem, Penny's got short arms too. I love his dominant game. He is a great athlete at the position. But to go up to the top 10 is going to cost you another first-round pick, and he's not worth to him. End of the day, he's just not.
If he falls into like 15, I'm going to do it.
I'm with you. That's what is it? Who's got 14? Whoever that is, that's my delineation point. If he gets past 14, then I can see going up to get him. Other than that, no. Mark Lawrence, thank you very much. Appreciate the super chat, and welcome from Canada. And you did get the draft guide. Awesome. Oh, good. First time. Thank you very much. I'm still trying to understand where players fall. Example, Caden Stearns' athletic matrix is off the chart, but his production rank is not top 10. And that's the problem. That's why I balance them, because it's not, you can't just go off of athleticism or you end up being the Raiders, right? You can't just go off of production or you end up being, pick anybody really. Pick years.
The Raiders really go off of who played in the national championship game. So,
right. Pick all those teams, guys, teams that stress production over anything else end up being middling teams because they don't get the upside players and they don't get the low side players. So they end up right in the middle, and they never get to draft a franchise quarterback, and they never get to make runs. That's a problem. So Caden Stearns is a great example. He has all the potential in the world physically. Was it the defense that he was in? Was it the calls? Was it what he was asked to do? I think he is a solid player. I think he's a day 3 guy, but I think he could, definitely be somebody that could end up playing split lockdown kind of thing with Juan in the future. I don't know. What do you got, Dan?
To be completely honest with you, I haven't watched much Caden Stearns, so.
Okay. Fair enough. I got bogged down. I did so many DBs, safeties, and corners that I think I wasted more time than I should have this season. Because I know about the top 10 tackles, and after that I get a little bit wishy-washy. But hey, Mark, thank you for the super chat. Ryan, am I just a hater? Is there no way in hell that the Chiefs should take away at 31? He is not a first-round pick in my board either. Do you disagree?
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love the video tomorrow. I can promise you that.
Let the rants begin. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Porter is in the house now. You can thank everything that you see in that draft guide to Jeff, because while I do all the athleticism, he helps me get all the production stuff done, and I couldn't do it without him. Jeffrey, thank you very much. And I'm sorry it takes so much time.
So awesome.
Mez, don't feel guilty. Have no questions right now. Okay. All right. Thank you, Mez. I appreciate it. And for getting the guide. I heard from you earlier. I appreciate that.
You guys are so awesome.
You guys should do a best case, worst case scenario mock draft. Maybe that's what we'll do Thursday. Best case is Fisher is ready to go. Ooh, that's a long way. Like I told you when it happened, when I didn't think they were going to release him, Eric Fisher shouldn't play until midseason. He can say he's ahead of schedule all he wants, but yeah, like, so if it happens that way, if they either don't get a tackle that they want and they fill in with somebody and Eric's ready by midseason, I'm all for it. He'll be a little out of shape, but I don't care. He's got the offense in the back of his pocket, so it ain't a thing.
Yeah.
Junction, I got your question earlier. I'm just behind you guys because I'm tired. I'm not keeping the pace well enough tonight. How many more years do you guys expect that we have a regular combine? I think they'll do it next year.
Yeah, I do too.
Especially with them pushing for vaccinations. College is going to do the same thing because it's a whole lot harder to keep a college team healthy than an NFL team. How come no one is talking about the elephant in the room being that losing the Super Bowl drops teams into oblivion? Because it's not true. Losing the Super Bowl isn't what does that. It's selling out to get to the Super Bowl with super high contracts that you can't get out of. That's what drops teams into oblivion. It sucks that you lose. It sucks that you make those sacrifices. Maybe you cut some guys to get some other guys in order to make that run. But it's not the losing the Super Bowl that does it. They'd be in the same situation if they'd won the Super Bowl. They still have contracts you can't pay. That's the problem.
It's an interesting predicament, to be honest with you, because I think a lot of what the Patriots did is because Tom Brady is one of the most intense competitors the NFL has really ever seen. And you can tell by the way he's continuing to play and continuing to find ways to motivate himself. And I think that carries a lot of weight in locker rooms. And I think Patrick Mahomes has that same kind of mentality. Now, we're going to see this year how that plays out, because I truly believe that he is pissed. I think he is so mad about what happened that he literally wants to light the NFL on fire. So we're going to see if that kind of fire can pass through the team, because I think that if you can do that, that's what really separates you from being those teams that drop out and just disappear and being a true competitor year in, year out.
And if there's one person that can do it, it has to be your quarterback.
Yes.
I will tell you this. I was very encouraged today when he was asked blatantly, have you rewatched the Super Bowl? He said, yep, 2 or 3 times, and I put it away. He's like, I made bad decisions. I didn't RPO and take the run when I had it. I pushed downfield too much. It's like the recognition is there. If he can grow from that, ooh,
good luck.
Good. Yeah, it's yeah. I'm ready for a parade every year, you guys. I mean,
it's a very thought-provoking question, though. I like it.
Yasin projections. I'm going to go Yasin just because it sounds like my brother's name. With bringing Blake Bell back, Michael Burton securing multiple guards, do you think this is the year more ground and pound? In that case, wide receiver might not be a pressing need in the draft. Yasin, you the man. You are my new best friend, and I hope Andy's listening to you.
So it's funny because I do think that they're trying to give themselves more options. I think last year, not only was Mahomes kind of, like he said, he wasn't taking the run when it was there, but the offensive line was not built to be a ground and pound team. They beat up the Bills earlier in the year because they were terrible against the run, and then they had opportunities to do it in the Super Bowl, and they just didn't do it because it felt like their offensive line not only was not up to par, but again, it wasn't built for it. So I think we're seeing Andy finally kind of tweak what he wants to do and finally adapt his offense just a little bit. Go back to not necessarily what Alex Smith did, but now incorporate some of that running mentality with Patrick Mahomes. I think that is really what unlocks his offense, because you can do as much on the ground as you want. If teams are going to sit back and play coverage, guess you're going to be like, fine, we'll take 10 yards. We'll take 10 to 15 yards a run. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what they're doing. But it doesn't mean wide receivers not pressing.
They still want to do what they want to do. I hope that they run more. I'm just going to cry all season otherwise. Josh, we covered it a little bit, Josh. I think Andy was pretty straightforward. I think he gave a couple of nuggets. I think we might be overreacting to some of them. Livingston, I agree with you. 63, there's going to be more options that I think are value, at least. I am concerned that the 3 guys that I think are worth a first-round draft pick at the tackle position are going to be gone before 20. So,
yeah, I can do that.
Jonah, thank you. Do you think that we could draft a tight end? If so, cut Bell or Nick, and which one gets cut? My guess would be Kaiser would be cut.
Yeah.
And I think there are some guys lower down that you could bring in. I actually like Matt Bushman. He's not an uber athlete, but he's one of those big dudes. Like, he's bigger than everybody else, and he moves okay. You know, like he's enough to get like that 8-yard first down when Travis goes over the top. You know what I mean? That's good.
I know that a lot of people want tight end too, and I think Andy Reid and Brett Veach are just sitting there like, yeah, we don't care. I know I say that a lot, and I apologize, guys, but I feel like they don't care.
Yeah. I can't argue with you. Great question, Voodoo. Dan, would you rather trade up for Darrisaw or down for Forsyth?
Down for Forsyth in a heartbeat. Give me more picks and Stone Forsyth. That's not a question.
I am so with you. Longmorn, heard the Chiefs are high on the Florida giant tackle. Good timing. Did you guys coordinate that? Because
awesome.
Those comments were right after each other. Good job, you guys. That is Stone Forsyth, and yes, good for them. And the only question becomes is how many other teams are that high on him, because then it pumps his value past 63, and then it becomes an issue. But again, if they miss the 3 top tackles, we're back to my original scenario that I told you guys about early in the offseason. Compress those picks, move back out of 31, and come up from the bottom. If you can get 4 in the top 100,
yeah,
I'm gonna be a happy camper.
Me too.
You guys might see me drinking on this live stream. I already do that.
Live stream just a little bit.
Yeah, it happens. Sean, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thoughts on staying at 31 for best player available? It seems like the Chiefs tend to do more draft value while staying pat, except for the night they got Mahomes. That's fair. I think Brett Veach gets antsy. I don't think he wants to stay there. Yeah. And at 31, just like at 32, if they hadn't been in love with Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think they would have moved out of that pick. I think they should have. And nothing against Clyde. I think you could have dropped back 6 or 8 spots and still gotten Clyde and picked something up. That's what I would have tried to do. Maybe they couldn't get a trade partner and they agree. I have no idea. But yeah, I think best player available is hard to get at 31 because you're getting all these guys that are second round grades on your board. Like right now, I'm a third of it through, and I have 7 first round grades so far, you guys. I ain't digging the top end of this draft. Wolverine, thank you. I'm sure you will. I'm crusty. It is what it is. Wolverine, thank you.
Thank you.
What are some first-round trade up partners that would be realistic? You nailed 2 of them, Bears and Colts. I would throw in the Washington football team because I think their needs are not going to get met. They're at 19. I think the Cardinals are a little bit high for me. I don't know what you think, Dan.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And currently my dryer is going off, so that's a nice little tune you guys get in the background. But Cardinals, maybe Vikings, but the Vikings are at 14, I think. So they seem to want to move back, pick up some more capital and try to fix that defense. Holy crap, it's going on forever. But yeah, so 16, maybe a little bit. I don't know if the Cardinals necessarily want to move out of 16 down that far. But I think that the Vikings make a lot of sense if you want to go up that high. Bears, probably the sweet spot.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you there. Stevie, thank you, Wolverine. Stevie, I think you're absolutely right. It is more plausible that Niang's it right and Fisher's the one who does come back, and I like that concept. Jay Livingston, true or false? Wusu Koromora could fit as the A+ version of the Dirty Dan role, and could see him falling to 31. I don't see him falling, but that's exactly what he is. And unfortunately, that's why I don't think he's necessarily somebody that I want to see in this defense.
No,
because I think you're passing on players that have bigger roles on your roster than what Dan does. And there's a guy, you guys will hear about it Sunday. There's a guy that I really like that's going to be a day 3 dude that I think is going to be slide right into Dan's job. Sorry, Dan.
No, that's what they need, really. That they do need that. I think
Josh.
Yeah, he's going top 15, I think.
Yeah, I do too. Somebody's going to play him at will and be pretty happy until somebody runs at him. Chauncey Golston is an Iowa Hawkeye. Thank you, Josh. I will have to go back and find him. I must be really behind in the chat. Oh, good Lord. So, guys, I'm going to speed this up. We're gonna speed time it. I'm going to take people who haven't had an question asked yet. Take the best LT at 31, then pick Walker Little in a late round. I can take a chance on him in the 5th. Sure. I think somebody will take a chance before then. Do you?
I could talk myself in the 4th.
Okay. That's cool.
With the comp pick, I could talk myself into it.
Doug, welcome to the memberships. It's what you get to hear me cuss and tell you the real stuff that I'm angry about. I will warn you, most of the member videos are not safe for work. Some more than others, but it is what it is. Let's see. Terry, do you think that since the Ravens are going after Villanueva, they think Brown will do something? I hadn't heard that about Villanueva. If the Ravens are pursuing him, maybe they think that they have a trade partner.
Yeah, he's coming in tomorrow for a visit. So either they do have a trade partner or they're just trying to get Brown to take less.
Jonah, moving up to 4 is going to cost you multiple firsts. I'm not in. So, I would say pass on talking to Atlanta. Honestly, I talked to them about their 2nd round pick. Yeah. Let's go that direction. Kansas City Chiefs, thoughts on Villanueva? Okay, so you guys are all on it, and I'm just out of the loop, evidently. Sorry, fellas. Was it Daniel Jeremiah with the Joseph pick? I agree with everything you said. I was just making sure you're not crazy. You're not crazy, Ryan. And I think Daniel's great. I think he's also more media-centric than he is team-centric. He also put minors in the top 50. And that's a stretch in my book. Pretty good one, but like a round. So, but hey, Dan Jeremiah's got all the right to do that. He has the scouting background. I think he likes to fire people up too. So good for him. Gary, what will it take to move up to 15? I think it's going to take at least a 2nd round pick. I'm hoping it doesn't take a 1st, but it might.
Yeah, and having Bill Belichick want to move up, so that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah,
he's at 15, and I think he wants to get Trey Lance.
Hey, more power to him. That pushes somebody else back down.
Yep,
I can live with that too. Let's see. Do you think the tackle usually have short arms, or is it just this year? This year is unusual in how many short arm tackles there are in this draft.
Yeah.
Do you like Newsome in the Chiefs system? Do you think the Chiefs will put him on the outside or the inside? That's a very good question. I'd have to look at his snaps. I think he's an outside corner just watching him play, and I'm okay with Snead stays inside. Hey, Snead can go wherever Snead wants as far as I'm concerned.
Just take Newsome, put him and Snead on the outside, and I think Newsome's very scheme diverse, and that would be an incredible 1-2 in my opinion.
Yeah, with Fenton in the nickel, I'm okay with that.
Cool. Let's lock it down. Send it.
I'm good. What's your favorite? Your number one favorite prospect falls out of the top 10 and the Chiefs are going up to trade it. Who is it, and is it worth it? Good question, Jacob. I'm sorry I couldn't read it worth it, Dan. Go ahead, Dan.
Devontae Smith falls out of the top 10, which is very possible. If he falls close to past 15, I think they will move the farm to go get him. I do. Yeah. I truly believe it. I think that they will, and he's one of my favorite prospects in this draft. I think that he coming into this offense, good luck. Tyreek Hill, you do everything, and Devontae Smith can literally do everything. He could do everything. Just go get him, and it'd be over. It would be over.
Josh Briscoe, and you guys, I'll give you a couple of morning vids here this week of me talking to Briscoe on 810. Briscoe asked me that too, and I can't remember what I told him or if I told him this off the air, so I'll tell you guys now. The difference between Waddle and Smith just comes down to one thing for me. Waddle is sudden, and Smith is a glider. And the glider reminds me of McColl, and just for some reason, I feel like they're going to feel a little bit bitten by that. I think the same thing, but I would think that if it's Waddle, they move heaven and earth to go up there.
See, I disagree with the Waddle thing because I see Waddle doing less to get open on his own down the field specifically. I know he can run by everybody, but he does less getting open with his own route running and physicality and through the route and through the stem like that. So I can understand with the gliding aspect, but the fact that Devontae gets – it doesn't matter who's on him. Doesn't matter what they're doing. He can get off press. He can get off physicality. He can play through it. So that for me, what Sammy brought to this team was opening everything up in the intermediate part of the field, which opened up things down the field. And I think that Smith could do that excellently.
I'm with it. Hey, so there's two options. Joseph, thank you for your super chat. Is there one defensive player that you would want the Chiefs to trade up and take? Go.
Trade up? Oh, man, that's a toughie.
Trade up.
So, not really. I'm going to say no.
I will give up a second-round pick to take either Surtain or Horn. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay.
But that's it.
Get it. I wouldn't do it just because I don't like the defensive draft.
Yeah, in general, I don't. I think corner's the strongest position. Am I wrong?
Very much.
Okay.
Very much.
Doug, I upgraded because I love and need more content from my channel. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate that. Tommy Doyle was the third highest draft tackle on Raz. Could he be worth 175 or 181? My only problem with Raz is that it is just a percentile comparison. I even talked to Ken about this a couple of weeks ago. He does tweak things a little bit more for I'm guessing it's yearly drift because he started that back in like 1987. And you guys go check out Ken at Math Bomb. He's great. But yeah, certainly anybody that's got that good a percentile score is worth a day 3 pick. Not a problem. I haven't watched him. Have you?
No, I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know his name.
Okay, good. I feel better. I've seen his name. I never looked to watch him. Adam Roach, what do you think of the Chiefs' leading win total bets at 0.5 over Tampa Bay? Win total. I don't pay any. If anybody can predict how many wins somebody's going to get, more power to them because I think that's silly.
Sounds fun.
Yeah. Some quarterback stubs or toe. Those teams have significant drawbacks, so don't worry about it. So what exactly is the Matrix? Is it a downloadable PDF, and how much does it cost? Yes, it is a downloadable PDF. It is all my analytics to make functional sense out of straight line tests or one-dimensional tests, which is what the NFL Combine and Pro Days are. You got to combine those to get functional athleticism. That's what I do. I used to be a strength and conditioning coach. I'm an exercise physiologist. This is the stuff that I've studied for 20 years. Quite frankly, I only started it because I used to keep track of it all just for me, and then I decided to put it out in the world. It's $9. Go grab it. Matrix RGR will get you, I think, 20% discount. So give it a shot. If it sucks, yell at me, Ryan.
Well, I can promise you it's not going to because the NFL uses that stuff. So
it's always subjective. You never know. Okay, we are way behind. I'm going to hit the super chatters real quick. Looks like everybody else is asking similar questions. Gooch has one. I don't know if you covered this, but what are your thoughts on Radins?
I like Radins.
And you've done the deep dive on him.
Yeah, I've done. And the biggest problem was I couldn't see the 2019 to 2020 improvement because they didn't play. They had one game. They had one game to go off of, and then I had Senior Bowl. So again, in 2019, he didn't dominate his competition, which again, he wasn't coming out. So it's hard to really justify or know what he's going to be. He's going to be good, I think. But again, we don't really know. But I would take him in the second round. If he was there at 63, I wouldn't even blink. I would just run it up to the board.
I can live with it at 63. I actually have a third round grade on him, but that's fine.
Yeah. I have end of second, so I mean, whatever.
They start to move around into bigger ranges at that point. All I know is he's not a first round pick. So.
No, he's not.
Brandon, was there a reason releasing Damian and then try to go to sign Gio when Damian is way more explosive player? He's excited to be the. I don't know.
See that's a very good question, and I wish I could answer it for you because I 100% agree with what you just said.
I will tell you this. There is a long-standing history of frustration with players that don't play through injuries, especially if they're little tiny injuries. And that is something that Damian didn't do. No. And my camera just shut down.
There it is. He did say it was going to go out, guys, just so you know.
So, Dan, answer Michael's while I change this.
I will do what I can. Without Brady, does Tampa Bay? No, I can tell you that right now. No, I don't even think they get out of that division. They probably don't even make the playoffs, to be completely honest with you. They seem to be pretty stacked. So, yeah, I would agree that Tom Brady does some things to lift the team itself. If you remember back to the Thursday night game they played against the Giants, where I don't remember if they lost. No, they almost lost that game. He was yelling at his teammates. So a different quarterback probably doesn't do a lot of that stuff and doesn't get their heads out of their proverbial rears, if you catch my drift. He's a guy who doesn't stand for messing up and screwing up. And a lot of even coaches, for example, I think that Bruce Arians kind of stands by the wayside when people don't do necessarily what they want to do. He seems to be definitely more of an easygoing coach in terms of you're doing this, whatever, because Jameis Winston was out there just throwing picks all day and he didn't seem to take him off the field. So I definitely think that Tom Brady has 95% of the reason they even got to the playoffs last year.
Well, I'll tell you this too. You get a lot of clout when you can't fit your hands in gloves because of all the rings. So
it does make sense. I mean, people do want to play for a guy who's got 6 and now 7.
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. Mark Lawrence, thank you for the super chat, especially up in Canada. I know sometimes this is troublesome, so thank you. Thank you, Ryan and Dan, for major props to Mr. Porter. Absolutely. Have you seen Jamar Johnson as the number 2 safety in some boards and other boards not in the top 10? Love your feedback. And only saw the Indiana versus Ohio State game, but what a game. I like Jamar Johnson. He tests well. He's got good production. I've watched 2 games. I've only watched 2 games. I question a little bit of the recognition and being able to use that athleticism a little bit. But other than that, I like the player. What do you think, Dan?
I think the Ohio State game was his only quote unquote game. Like, I think he had a great game, and outside of it, the production didn't mirror that, and that's going to happen. It's not always, the ball's not always going to go your way, so you have to be able to do the other things well to negate the ball coming your way. So some of that does go into that, but I don't think that he's a top 2 safety. I would probably have him closer to 5 or 6, but we'll see when I actually put my board together, because I have other safeties that I do really like in this class, and I think I like better than him.
Okay, I'm going to pull this up real quick, give you guys a little bit of a preview.
Fancy.
Because I do a couple of specific things, particularly with DBs. And one is called hawk rate, and that's how much you attack the targets that you have and end up with PBUs and INTs. And then there's another one called Eagle. And Eagle is an all-around player. It has tendency to do tackles for loss on screens and those kind of things, sacks, PBUs, forced fumbles as well. Let's see, where am I here? And so here's the thing. Hawk rate in the air. When he attacks the ball in the air, and he's number 1 in one of my most important metrics. But then watch what happens. He falls off dramatically when it comes to the rest of the ball game. And that's not to say he's terrible at all. It's just that there's a significant difference. Most years you're going to see the top 3 in both. That's not the case here. And so that is a little bit of a concern, but he definitely has the athleticism. Where is he? He's going to be total. He's going to be my number 10 overall. This is a little preview of the draft guide, you guys. So you can see here that he's ranked up here, 1 in Hawk, 2 in Eagle. These are his athleticism, middle of the road. Decent, but not anything to shout home about. And if I shout home, I get in trouble, so I don't do that anymore. Jake, Ty M seems really jacked about the Super Bowl loss. Since it doesn't look like Casey spends a pick on the starting safety, I think Veach has more on extending him. I do. I think they're kind of keeping it in their back pocket for cap space. I don't know. Yeah. What do you think? Yeah.
Yeah. They don't necessarily have to do it right now. So I don't think they're really in a rush to get it done, so to say. They had all that cap space because they wanted to get Trent Williams. And if they needed more after that, it was always an option, but it didn't work out that way. So that's why they haven't really done it, because they don't necessarily have to yet.
Yeah. Mark, I think the Chiefs need a draft tackle no matter what, even if it's a developmental guy. But they need one now, because especially if it's a developmental guy, they got to piece it together for this next season and let the guy develop. So the clock's ticking. Nipper Girl, thank you very much. I'm guessing you'll say something down below, because you always do. Ryan, you mentioned Veach getting antsy. When you look at C.H. Hardman speaks, does Veach have an issue with reaching on his first pick, and does that worry you for years to come? I don't think that CEH was a reach. I think he was a valid grade there at the bottom of the first round. I don't think the running back has positional value. And if you guys remember from last year's live stream, I told you it's the best fit of any player to an offense in that entire draft. And I still don't like a running back in the first round. I do think that Speaks and Hardman were Veach's early drafts where he didn't have a first round pick. So he felt like no matter what, he had to get value that he saw could get onto the field with his number twos. And I think that's why those were slight reaches. Clearly, Speaks was a big reach. And I think Hardman still has a chance to pan out, but I think that's what it's about, Ryan. Michael, if you were wrong, what might Veach draft first 3 rounds that would surprise you? It would surprise me if he went linebacker, guard, and DT, because I think they're pretty stacked at the defensive line. What would surprise you, Dan?
Surprise in the first 3 rounds?
Yeah.
Defensive tackle, guard. That's it. I think anything else in the first 3 rounds is almost fair game. I don't personally think they're going to take an edge, but that wouldn't surprise me if they did.
Okay. This is a great one, Michael. If we draft a left tackle, who do you think has a higher ceiling than Fish?
That's a really good question because, like you said, no, Fish developed differently. And I do think that he wasn't, a dominant left tackle, but I think he was currently at the top of his power. So he was still a very good left tackle. So the ceiling potential is very hard to gauge out of a lot of these guys, but the athleticism from this class itself does tend to show you some of that potential. Mm-hmm. And one guy, and I may just be a little bit, crazy, but I think Spencer Brown's potential at a left tackle or even just right tackle is extremely high because not only is he a super athletic guy, he is one of the most raw, powerful tackles in this class, in my opinion. The way that he can use leverage and understands leverage to just snatch guys from drifting to his left, taking a guy on his right with one arm and throwing him to the ground, it's different. So potentially speaking, ceiling, I would say Spencer Brown. Okay,
that's interesting. I like that, and I agree with you. I like his game. His height makes him a little, I think, difficult to play with leverage at times, and so yes. I wonder about that.
That's why we're going to ceiling potential.
Right, yeah, no, I'm with you. I think Forsyth is very, very similar, but for some reason, I think the level of competition makes me feel like he could surpass that. And I think, honestly, the guy that has probably the highest ceiling, but maybe the lowest floor is Radins because of the level of competition. I think he could do anything. He's still got to build out muscle mass. He's still not as muscular as he needs to be.
It's very hard to gauge with those two, specifically Spencer Brown and Dylan Radins, just because of that. And the one game that I got to saw of Radins, he did have improved contact strength. But again, one game against a opponent that doesn't give you what a Power 5 conference defense gives you. So it's really hard to gauge. And he did have an up and down Senior Bowl, much like Spencer Brown. The flashes were there, but I think good Senior Bowls showing for both of them. So it's hard. It's hard to gauge.
It is, and that makes it difficult to – that's why I think you rely more on floor than ceiling in this draft.
Yeah.
That's my thought.
I can get that.
Holly, do you think the draft will be more defense or offense heavy or balanced? Sorry if it's been asked. Not at all, Holly. I'm glad you're here, and thanks for the super chat. I think the whole league is going more offense. I think we will see more players drafted on that side.
I agree, and I think the first 3 picks could very easily end up being offense.
Yeah. Hot and spicy. Why are you guys so low on Walker Little? It all comes down to happenstance. He got hurt.
Yeah.
He had an unlucky break. He hasn't played a game since 2018. And quite frankly, he didn't perform well at the pro day. And he's had all that time to recover. He opted out in 2020 for COVID. So I would think he would be back and up to full capacity. His film was great in 2018, right? You've watched more of it than I have.
No. I mean, for a guy 2 years ago, yeah, who was what? I think he was a redshirt sophomore. I don't remember exactly what he was, but he sophomore, whatever it was. It was good for his 2018 film. But again, that's why Ryan and I have been trying to preach. He hasn't played in 2 years. That makes a big deal. It's a big deal. It is. You can't understate it.
It really, really is. I mean, it's more of a question mark than any other tackle that I can remember me actually being okay if they draft at all.
Yeah.
Normally, I would say he's a UDFA. Done. Get him off my board. But what he did in 18 was pretty dang good. So, like, it bumps you back into the draftable range for me. Tyler, you live in Nevada, and I'm so tired of hearing Raiders fans. Chiefs move up and take Waddle or move up and get Greg Newsome, just a thought. I think Newsome will probably fall to them, and I think we'll know right away if we start hearing rumblings about them moving up. And if it is moving up, it might be for one of those wide receivers.
Yeah, I disagree. I don't think Newsome will be there at 31. So
you don't? Okay.
I think that 4 corners are going in the first round.
Okay. I think it might just be 2. Never know. Newsome and my guy Thornhill Sneed and Honey Badger. Good Lord. Yep, Doug, you're absolutely right. I would rather have a strong secondary than a wide receiver core. I'm just saying.
I can get that.
Thoughts on Auburn's Jamie and Sherwood? Dev guy. I'm not sure he knows everything that's going on. I think I got 3 games of him in. Yeah. Did you watch any of him, Dan? Okay. Yeah, like I said, I got deep into the safeties before to the point where I realized, hey, I need to do something else here.
I got deep into the wide receivers, so that's probably why I haven't.
Right? Yeah, he's a day 3 guy on my board, and I think he's got some upside, but he's got learned. He reminds me about B. Keys in that situation. Let's see. Holly, can't wait for the Trooper tee. Hey, I'm glad you got one. That's awesome. My wife is pissed at me, Holly. I am supposed to be working on some ladies' designs specifically. I will try to get some of those going too, when I sleep eventually. Whatever. Scott said, I see some NFL Network guys mocking Eichenberg. Your thoughts? I was with that a couple weeks ago.
Before he had his pro day, I was like all for it.
I was concerned about his kick at the time, but then watching the measurements, yeah, like he's middle of the road, and the arm length is the arm length, and especially when we're talking about this team, who I do believe believes in thresholds for the arm length. I think he's going to be a guard. I'm going to keep him because I like the guy. I'm going to keep him at tackle on my board, but I think he ends up playing guard.
I like the tackle tape, so again, try him at tackle. Try your guys at tackle.
I mean, he played in the ACC this year. Obviously, they're independent before that, but he hasn't given up a sack since mid-2018.
No, exactly. So, like, the thing about these guys is, yeah, they got short arms. Always try them at tackle first.
Yeah,
always do it.
And that's why your boy Leatherwood's going to be in play.
Yeah, I know. I don't hate Leatherwood. I don't.
I know you don't.
Got uncomfortable with him in my top 10, mostly because I think he's going to be a guard. That's just my own opinion. I think that speed to the outside and he gets overwhelmed by power. Like he's got the length. Don't get me wrong. He has the length. He's got the athleticism. He does things you don't want a tackle to do. Give up the outside shoulder. He gives it up willingly. So
he
that
turns away from.
Yeah. It's not good. That's not good. So I would understand it. Like, don't get me wrong. I would understand at 31 you take Alex Leatherwood. I get it. I'm not yet comfortable with it.
Yeah. Scott, do you see wide receivers in the draft that can fill in or pick up the slack for Sammy gone? Absolutely. I think my favorite for like that role was Terrace Marshall and Diami Brown. Yeah, I know what you want.
Yeah, inject it. Just
Tyler, do you think that this year's the Chiefs are out for blood against Tampa Bay because of the results of the actions of the Bucs in the Super Bowl? No, I don't know about that. Tyreek didn't seem too pissed off when what's his name? Winfield was giving him grief back because don't do backflips on dudes. I
love that, to be honest with you. I loved it.
No, good for both of them.
Yeah, I looked for both of them. It was great for both. Like, I loved Tyreek's reaction.
Exactly. More credit to him for saying, "Okay, you got me. I got to just walk away." If you're gonna put it out there, you got to be able to take it too. At the end of the day, that's what it is. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, look at that. We might have. Oh, maybe I lied. We didn't get caught up. We're almost caught up. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Because we're over, so we're almost out of time anyway. Let's see. Questions. Okay, these are all comments. Okay, you're right. Okay, so you guys are right, just in general. There's Gooch. Easy on the Alabama guys, fellas.
Listen. I try.
Listen. No, I like Leatherwood.
I do too. Like, and the thing is, like, I can criticize and also acknowledge that I like the player. Yeah, that has to be part of the process. You have to criticize.
And I have to say, this is probably the first draft class in going on 5 years. My CB1 is the same today as it was the day the season ended. It is Pat Surtain, period.
Very impressive.
It doesn't happen to me very often. Let's see. Questions. Okay, Gooch Gooch, you're on fire. You must have got home now, I guess. Super chat button still works. Okay, well, I appreciate that. Thanks for punching it, bro. Holly Patter. Yes. The man does what he can when he has time. Yeah, would you guys please? Would you hit the likes? There's a lot of other Chiefs channels popping up lately, and so
weird.
If you hit the thumbs up, it keeps us out there in the front of where new people who come to YouTube for the first time are like, oh, what's this platform about? Well, you can either find some rumored BS or you can find us. So more likes helps us. Jake, thank you very much. Roll Tide, Gooch. Good Lord, it's a conspiracy in here.
Really
that brings me to another topic. I can't remember, and I apologize if you're the person who asked me this. I thought about doing a Discord like a year ago, and it just never got up the priority list to get done. But Aaron said that he's willing to moderate. So I'm thinking about doing a Discord that will be open for you guys and a separate members one where everybody can just feel free and turn it into a board. If you would leave me in the comments, not in the live stream, but in the comments, do you want that, or is that not of interest to you? Because if we go about it, I don't want to ask Aaron to put his time into something that maybe folks don't necessarily want. But I need to gauge it a little bit better because I'm not sure. So hit us down there in the comments and let us know what you like. Gooch, where we're going, time is not an issue. I like that. We don't need roads.
Right.
I wonder how Kyle Long can last being away from the game. That's a good point.
It does make me wonder, but again, he said he put on like 70 pounds to get ready to come back to play this year. So that gives me some confidence that he's ready because he knows what it takes to play in the NFL. So I'm more confident that he's ready to go, and now he's got time to build up for training camp. So I think he'll be ready.
Oh, dang. Okay, Mike Daniel, I'm sorry I missed it the first time, but I got it over here on my sheet. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Yes, Mike, you're on fire. Yep, I did. I must have missed that. Yes. Mike said, is the safety you think can replace Dan the LSU safety? Yes. His name is Jacoby Stevens.
You're going to love that part of the video. I can promise you that.
Yeah, it is pretty entertaining. And if you guys like Dan, go watch Jacoby. I think you're going to dig him. He's not the Blazer. He's not a back of the defense like all over the field. He's a lot like Dan. He's not afraid to stick his face into a pile, and I love that about him. Yeah, I think you guys are all going to like him. And I'm sorry I missed you, Mike. Thank you for not getting pissed off and just letting me know. Frey. At least I think that's what that means. I don't know. What do you think of Zach Wilson Patrick comparison? I think it's ridiculous.
It's just like anybody that's fast at Tyreek Hill. You can't put these guys in a vacuum and say they're the same player.
And that's not to say that Patrick was better as a college quarterback.
Oh no,
because
exactly.
His platform was way more all over the place than Wilson's.
Yeah,
but I think it's seeing some trends in terms of arm strength of throwing off platform and making that projection that I just don't think you can make. I'm toy. I have him as my QB2, but I was real close to flipping that.
He's my 3, but
is he okay? Who do you have 2 right now? We'll give you guys another preview. We got 2.
This is going to be real spicy. Trevor Lawrence.
Oh wow! Oh, I like that. Who do you got 1 then? No, save
Fields.
That.
I have Fields as my number 1 quarterback.
Wow. Oh, I like that. Let the arguments commence in the comments, folks.
You trickle over to Twitter, guys. Don't forget.
Yeah, right.
_Harms19 at me, whatever you want. I'm ready for it.
Dude, that'll be fun. We'll do the mock draft on Thursday, too. We'll try to get Dan back in here for that. And then we can let him try to run with him and just take the guy that he wants to take. Gooch, what does an extension for the landlord look like? That's a very good question. My guess is it's pushing 18 mil an average. I'm sure they'll structure it satisfactorily for him. So it's going to be 3 or 4 up front, and then it'll stagger. But I think it's going to be about 3. My guess is the hang up is he's probably wanting 4 or 5. He said today he wants to finish his career in Kansas City. And I think he thinks he can play that long. He's probably right, in my opinion. I don't know if the team agrees. So I think they're probably pushing for like 3, but I don't know.
Yeah, I get that.
I did answer your question before, Joe. Let me back up, though. Maybe I missed something else. Oh, maybe you did too. Okay, hold on. Who's one player that you think Veach has worn out Reed with this year? That well put, Joseph. I'm sorry I missed you.
Has worn out Reed with?
Yeah, because you know how he like just kept throwing him stuff on Mahomes and then on Clyde.
Oh, okay. So somebody he's fallen in love with and said, "Hey, you got to watch this guy." That's a really good question. It's hard to. I would imagine it'd be an offensive skill player like a wide receiver if I'm projecting, and I would say Diami Brown. If I had to say, I think that he does a little bit more, either that or Rashad Bateman. Those two guys, a little bit shorter, can do a lot of stuff in the intermediate, in my opinion. Bateman probably maybe a little bit more on Diami because I think that's a guy they might love for the Sammy role. Love.
I was going to say Bateman or Waddle, so I think we're pretty close on there. Gooch, okay, answered that one. I had to go back up for that. Andrew, thoughts on Tyreek's offseason workouts, Ironman comps, and Ninja workout tracks?
I love it.
He is a freak. I don't understand what Ninja Warrior workouts do for him. If I was his trainer, I'd tell him never to do that because that's an ankle injury waiting to happen. But that's just me. I think it does feed into one thing that I do deeply believe in, though, is that the best athletes in the world are multi-sport athletes. And I think that's important.
I think it depends on what he's doing with the Ninja Warrior stuff, because I'm going to let you guys in on something. I am a Ninja Warrior freak, the original.
Ooh.
Like I've watched every season of the Japanese version from the very beginning when it started. So he could be working on grip strength. Something like that, or he could be working on his actual muscular endurance, which is very important for those courses. Because if you do watch the way that Tampa Bay played them, they were very physical to the line of scrimmage. So that gets very difficult in the third and fourth quarter to get off of. So your muscles have to continue to be stressed, and you have to be pushing it and fighting. So that's something he could be working on as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Let's see, Joseph. I think I got back and got you. I think we're good. Chris likes the LSU. Okay. Doug, did I miss your last one? Uh-oh. Oh, thanks for the guide, Doug said. I did miss that. Man, you guys were all 3 in a row just before I got to Holly's. So thank you, Doug. I appreciate that very much. I'm just glad that you guys like it. I know sometimes it doesn't necessarily make sense until you back up and say, hey, these are rankings in these specific aspects. I have plans for the future, how I'm going to do it. Like there's another 20 things that I track, matrices that I put together that I save for the teams. And yes, I do talk to teams about working with me. When I get a contract, you guys will know because I'll probably turn this channel over to Dan. But yeah, like there's a whole lot of aspects to it and how you put things together. Frank Bowser, I missed you. Upon finishing The Matrix, did anyone jump out as a sleeper that you would like us to target? That is a very good question. I'd have to go back and say there is one that off the top of my head, and it's not just from The Matrix. If it was just from The Matrix, Shakatoni would be one. I know Dan doesn't like his arms, but they are 33. But the other guy is the production, and it's a little bit difficult because it's not like elite, but I like the balance of it, and that's Peyton Turner. I think you guys are going to like him, and I think he's a guy that's still on the heavy upside, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, I love Peyton Turner. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely someone I liked.
Okay. I like the confirmation. That makes me feel better. Do you think Fish comes back sometime this summer? I don't think so.
Probably not until this season.
Yeah, that's my thought. Like I'm thinking before Thanksgiving. I'm thinking before Halloween is what I'm thinking. Like right about there. Gooch, let's close out today with a Dan rant. You have one coming tomorrow.
I was about to say, I'm going to save my rant stuff for the actual video that will come out tomorrow. I have some stuff lined up for you guys, and I can promise you that I know at least one of you is going to like some of it, Ryan. Talking about Jason Owe. So,
okay.
He's going to be on the rant. I can promise you that. So,
I love that.
Just look for that tomorrow.
Makes me happy when my points are made and I'm not the crazy one. I love it. Oh, okay. Let's see. Make sure I get the rest of the super chatters. I did get Doug's. Thank you, Doug. Thank you for everyone who super chatted tonight and every night. Did Dorsey do a better job drafting starters, whereas Veach is better at drafting role players and free agents? I don't think I'm actually prepared to say that. What do you think, Dan?
It's a very good question. I think Dorsey had a better track record with his first picks.
Like first rounders?
Yeah, his first rounders turning out to be something. Granted, we're not going to talk about the early 2010 years because that's just a lot of pain. But I think overall, his first round picks hit more so than they have with Veach. And maybe that's just a feeling out process. And I don't really know because I'm not in the room with them and knowing what they fall in love with. And sometimes you get tunnel vision when you're watching a guy. I know that I did that a couple times this year. I've gone back and watched and seen differences after the first time. So I think you can get in your own head a little bit with some players that you fall in love with. So that may be playing a role. I would expect it doesn't because he's been doing this forever, but you never know.
No, you never know. There's some things that just ring for people. I'm like that as well. Everybody is. Steve Concepcion, thank you very much. And Cole, recently, had a thought. Yeah, like I'm gonna have to redo the store, you guys, to get some of these expanded products. I did test some hats, Aaron. I really did, and they're crap. So I did not go with that provider. So I'm gonna have to change the store over to more of a Shopify thing where I can open it up to better vendors and produce some better stuff. That's a good point, Cole. I will try to remember that one. It shouldn't be hard. I probably use one of those every week. So, hey. Thank you. Will Mahomes be able to move like he did after having surgery? I have no problem with that. He actually said that he has more flexion and power than he did before with it.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Did Super Bowl prove that we rely on Patrick too much, and how do we fix that? I mean, that's a significant argument that can be made. They have to bolster the defense better, and quite frankly, I think Patrick realizes now after watching the Super Bowl a couple more times that he has to not push what he wants as much, and that is a risk.
I would agree, and I also think that Andy himself relied too much on his own views of offensive line play. I think that was very apparent.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, so did I because
we all did.
I actually read way too much into Wiley's performance
against the Saints. I did too.
Yeah. I mean, mistakes happen. Not scheming against deep zones and thinking that you're going to get man again when you torched them the first time, that was a tactical mistake.
That might be on the rant tomorrow.
Thoughts on Hardman, and do you think he's been working on in the off season? I don't know.
He's been keeping to himself.
I wish I knew. I wish McCole was out there with what he's doing. Maybe that means something.
Yeah, I don't know.
If Denver were to jump up and get Fields, how concerned are you that they could close the AFC? I think that would be a significant get for them.
Very much. We're talking about, I believe that the Denver Broncos are legitimately a quarterback away from being legit, not only like AFC West contenders, but being Super Bowl contenders. That's how confident I am in their defense. I think Fangio does a great job. If they can keep healthy, they're going to be a top 10, top 5 potential defense in the NFL.
They rebuilt their secondary. I'm with you there. They need some more help on the offensive line still too, though.
Well, yeah, they do, but they're going to, I would imagine they draft it. But
Sutton, Judy, Fant, Hamlin. I can't remember who went there. The guy scares me with his speed. It really doesn't matter.
They're very close if they can get a guy like Justin Fields.
Yeah, I agree. Doug, thank you very much. Keep spreading the word. We're going to get there just fine. Jonah, you can find it at rogueapc.com. I don't have, or do I? I don't think I have something that I can throw up there, but maybe I can. It'll give you a visual of it. No, I don't. I'll have to do that. Rogueapc.com. I'll put it in the show notes. That's where all of my work is, the Matrix and the draft guide, whole 9 yards. Any thoughts on business cards? I don't have business cards right now. Maybe I should do that, but we'll leave you with this one. Thank you, Aaron Morrow, for reminding me. If you guys would hit the thumbs up, that would always help, especially as more and more channels start to come up and want to talk Chiefs. Yeah, we've been here a long time, but there's always newcomers. Same thing with the podcast system, folks. Been podcasting Chiefs since 2013, and now you can't throw a stone without running into a podcast. Yeah. It is what it is. But Dan, thanks for all your time hanging out tonight.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me again. I appreciate you all being out here. It's awesome that we get crowds now, like on a weekly appearance in the offseason. It's awesome.
Right. Yeah. You guys are a heck of an audience. And I'm glad that you stick together. A lot of fan bases, they kind of pick at each other. I'm glad you guys are a unit. And this is the last question because just came in. I like this one. Let's say Mac Jones falls to 31 and you have 2 or 3 teams calling. Would you trade down and earn first-year picks? Absolutely.
Yep.
And I think that's where Mac Jones should go. I don't think he should be a top 10 pick.
No.
Let's see if the league agrees with us.
Let's hope so. He shouldn't go until the early second round.
Yeah, I'm with you. We're working on boards. I think the whole crew is going to give it a shot. You'll definitely have mine and Dan's. Thank you guys for your spending tonight with us. I hope that you have a great one. I have a couple of decent interviews. Sunday's going to kick off draft week. You guys are going to like that. And there's some familiar faces we'll have as guests. I think some of you are going to be surprised, Harry. You guys have a good day. We'll catch you tomorrow.